7. Where was your family when they started working on the family farm? Yes, many of our ancestors were farmers, and for many families growing up on the farm meant you didn't have to wait till adulthood to start working. You were given chores to help out around the home and around on the farm. Helping on the family farm was simply part of family life. Children often started with small jobs and gradually took on more responsibility as they grew older. They might have collected eggs, fed animals, carried water, got some fresh milk into the house. Ask me about that one. I love that one. Helped in the garden, opened gates, brought cows in for milking, or helped during the planting and the harvest. Even helped carrying the milk from the milking shed to the house. We had friends of our family who had a dairy farm, and I have been on the trailer in the back feeding hay out to the cows. I have walked from the farmhouse down to the milking shed, and there's a little tap just before the milk hits the cooling rods to go into the big vat to be collected by the dairy companies, where you can actually just turn that little tap and it will fill up the stainless steel jug you're hanging on to in your hand. Then you close it and it is fresh, warm cow's milk, and it is absolutely amazing. Loved getting that stuff before it got all processed and all that other stuff. But fresh cow's milk, nothing like it. What else have I helped do on a farm? I've helped collect eggs when we've been on farms that have had hens. Helped feed the animals. Open gates, jumped off the back of the trailer, open the gates, wait for the tractor with the trailer to go through, and then close the gates in behind. So whenever we went and visited friends who lived on a farm, or even family who lived on a farm, because we have family up north who still have the farm that their parents had. I'm not sure if their dad's side of the family still had the farm. I'm not sure when the farm came into the family. I just know it's been there for at least 2-3 generations. And we used to go and help out with that, help bring the cows in and help send them back to their fields and stuff. And what began as simple chores could eventually become long days working alongside parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, and neighbors. Farm life followed its own clock. Absolutely. I got a great story about this one. Animals needed feeding, whether it was a weekday, weekend, birthday, or holiday. Crops didn't wait because someone wanted a day off. There were early mornings, changing seasons, unpredictable weather, and job that simply had to be done. For many farming families, everyone played a part. Now, farm life followed its own clock. When we would go to our friend's place, they had this beautiful old clock that sat on the mantelpiece, and there was a sticker across the front that said cow time. That clock never changed. Even if daylight savings was in effect, that clock never changed. And the husband who ran the farm, his theory was, and I thought it was I totally agreed with him, totally understood his logic and everything, and thought it was absolutely brilliant. The cow time, like I said, it never changed because his cows were used to being milked at certain times of the day. So his theory is that the cows, about 15 to 20 minutes before they're going to head down to the cow shed for milking, they go into the back corner of the paddock and they do their business, and then they come and wait by the gate. And then they get taken down to the milking shed, they get milked, and then they get sent back. And there's very little cleanup that they have to do at the milking shed because the cows have already done their business before being taken to the milking shed. Now, if you bring the clock forward an hour, spring forward, now you're an hour late picking up the cows to go to the milking shed, by which stage they're ready to go do their business again. So they're going to do it all around the milking shed. There's going to be a lot more cleanup, a lot more of you having to dodge things when you're down in the little channel there between the cow's rear ends, putting on the cups and everything. I never got to put the cups on. My thumb wasn't big enough to block the hole. I tried. It didn't work. But I did help clean the udders. I did help do that. And so then they would do their business while being milked, while waiting to be milked, and after they'd been milked. So there's a lot more cleanup to do. And this happened twice a day. And so our friend decided we're having cow time, and it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, whether we're in daylight savings or not, that time on there is when the cows are getting milked. The cows loved it. They did their business. They went to the gate. They got taken down to the milking shed. They got milked. They got sent back again. And there was very little cleanup that the farmers had to do because of that. So yes, definitely when it comes to farm life, it followed its own clock. It didn't care about daylight savings or anything else. Working on the family farm wasn't about hard work. It was also when knowledge was passed from one generation to another. A child might learn how to care for an animal by watching a grandparent, how to repair a fence from their father, how to preserve food from their mother, and how to recognize a change in the weather simply by spending years working the land. There are some farmers that can very accurately predict the weather better than the weather people do on TV. There were probably plenty of adventures along the way too. A stubborn animal that refused to cooperate, a tractor that wouldn't start, getting caught in a sudden downpour, muddy boots left at the back door, or the excitement of a new calf, lamb, foal, or any other animal being born. These everyday moments became part of a family's shared history. The farm itself may have passed through several generations. Perhaps grandparents worked the same land their grandchildren eventually farmed. Buildings were added, machinery changed, farming methods improved, and the family adapted, but the connection to the land remained. For family historians, these stories can tell us far more than an occupation listed as farmer on a census or a certificate. What kind of farm was it? How large was it? What did they grow or raise? Who owned the land before them? Who inherited it? And perhaps most importantly, what was everyday life really like for the family who lived there? I'm also going to throw in there too, how big was the farm when they first got the land compared to how big it is now? Did they have to sell off part because of economic downturn? Did they have to go and sell off part of the farm? Did they end up expanding the farm and making it bigger than when it first started? I'm trying to think of other stories that all I remember is that going to the farms, we had a blast. We had great time. We would play in the hay. They'd have like the hay bales stacked up in the shed, and we'd go and play in those and make little forts and things. And yeah, I'm not sure my mother would appreciate that one, but we used to make little hidey holes inside the bales of, like, we used to move the bales of hay around and make little forts and stuff like that. And those things were heavy, but as kids, it didn't matter. Take a couple of us to move a bale of hay so we could make a fort. Not a problem. We had great. I was the only girl. I was the only girl ever on the farms that we visited. Because when we visited our friend's farm, they had 3 boys. You want to play? You got to play with the boys. Then when we went to my to Dad's cousin's aunt's place where she had the farm, there were all boys there too. I was the only girl that was out there playing. So, yeah. It was just one of those things that, if you wanted entertainment, you had to go play with the boys. Yep, you just had to be the tomboy for the thing, and that didn't bother me at all. All I remember is that every time we visited a farm, we had a lot of fun. Us kids would go running down in the back paddocks, playing around, playing in the haystacks. We just had a blast. We would help out with the chores. We would help feed the cattle sitting there on the trailer, throwing out the hay from the hay bales and things. Opening and closing gates so the tractors could go through, helping bring the cows down to be milked. It was a lot of fun. That's all I remember. I know there was a lot of hard work in there because we would sleep really good that night after a day out on the farm. But we had so much fun. We even got to feed some of the orphaned animals. You had the big milk bottle things, and you'd hold them there so they could drink out of the bottles and stuff. What else did we do? They had the old milk churns that had the hoses that went down into the milk, and you'd put, like, I think about 4 calves on each churn, and they would all suck on the milk and suck it up through the straws, out through the teats at the top. We just had a blast. We had, like I said, all I've got is very fond memories of the times that I visited farms, and whether it was family farms that were, Dad's mum's side of the family. Us kids had a blast. Yeah. Or if we were at our friend's place, who are actually their farm is about an hour from here, an hour north. We had a blast. Yeah. So it was a very special time to go and visit friends and family on their farms. There was one time we were visiting one of the dairy farms just an hour up the road here from the friends, and we were at a farm. I think it was across the road and down a little. It was on the other side of the road that they lived on. It was down a little further, and they were shearing sheep. Oh my gosh. That was a lot of fun. And we would watch them pull the fleece off. The guys would do their shearing thing. They'd pull the wool off. They'd spread it all out. They did whatever they did with it all spread out, and then they would put it into the bales, into those sack things that would then get set off to wherever it got sent off to. But that was a lot of fun as well. We didn't actually get to shear any sheep, but we got to help move them into the pens. And then once they're shorn, we got to help move them back into the paddocks as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there. And I'm trying to think, did we ever help? I think Dad helped with the harvest one time to bale the hay. Because one of the farms had their own field set aside for their own hay, and they went and harvested the hay. I kind of recall that, but I can't swear that that's what we actually did or what Dad actually helped with. But I just got great memories of being on the farm and visiting family and friends on farms. It was a lot of fun. That's all I can tell you. If you've never been on a farm and helped out, find one that you can go visit. There are ones that you can actually go and stay at. Like, I know in the States there's ranches that you can go and stay at and become part of everyday life for like about 7 days. You get to stay there. You get to help do a drive and that sort of thing, which is a drive is on horseback bringing the stock in. And I think you camp out overnight and that sort of stuff as well. So there are experiences that you can go and do that. I just remember from my childhood, we had a ton of fun on the farms. I probably got up to more mischief than I thought, but than I recall. But us kids always got into mischief. So your challenge today is ask a family member if they grew up working on a family farm or even visiting, because my dad, part of his school holidays, he would go to his grandparents' place and work on their farm. How old were they when they started helping? What were their first chores? What time did their day begin? Who taught them what to do? And on the family farm there, they wouldn't have grown up on the farm, but maybe they visited grandparents during school holidays and things and helped out. Who taught them what to do? What job did they enjoy the most? And which one did they absolutely hate? Ask about funny stories, difficult seasons, favorite animals, family traditions, and memories they still treasure. The family farm wasn't simply where they worked. For many families, it was home, livelihood, classroom, playground, and legacy all rolled into one. And let us know in the comments below about some of the stories that you uncover. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konara.